afternoon. Thank you all for being here today. We're thrilled to have you join us for an engaging and insightful panel discussion on talent and the future of work with a diverse group of talents and our guest of honor, Sanda Noordende, CEO and Chair of the Executive Board Randstad, who will share their perspectives and experiences on navigating the evolving talent landscape. Our moderator, Ram Kolavennu, is the Chief Operating Officer at Foundation for Excellence. Ram has over 25 years of experience and has delivered large-scale, mission-critical programs and sustainable solutions in his various roles at numerous organizations. A certified life and career coach and impact-driven leader, Ram has played a key role in scaling social enterprises and non-profit organizations and finds immense fulfillment in creating sustainable solutions that bring about meaningful change. Welcome once again, all of you, and Ram, thank you for moderating the panel. Over to you.
Thank you, Revati, and thank you, Sandra, for joining us today. And I've not seen such a diverse panel before, and so nice to have you all here, and welcome. Good afternoon. Let me just quickly introduce our panel today. Colonel Nilanjit Srivastava, a military professional, strategic capability development, talent leader, ex-army, and moved into working, and then now working with Randstad to see how they can get more veterans into the workspace. And so welcome. We have Sourav Mukherji, who's the Dean of Alumni Association and Professor at IIM Bangalore. Worked with Randstad for some time in actually having the leadership training programs for the top talent. So welcome, Sourav. We also have Bali, the country manager of GF Machining, senior talent, and has been placed recently through the the leadership search program at Randstad. We have Geetika Mehta, founder for Atypical Advantage, I think doing a phenomenal work in this space of disability and trying to figure out how we get them into the workforce. So welcome, Geetika. And we have Chandana Hari, Chandana Hari. She's an operator in Wistron and working on a shop floor and doing some great work. So welcome, all of you. So I know there are a lot of insights. You come from various different backgrounds to be shared, and a lot of questions probably for you, Sandra. So before we get started on to the question answer sessions, I just wanted to understand what is this Partner for Talent which you have launched this year, and if you can give some insights into that, please.
Well, in Randstad, we want to be a partner for talent. Well, first of all, a partner for talent for our clients, because we know our clients are always looking for different specializations. And that's why we said we want to be a specialized talent company. So we have Randstad Operational, which is talent on the shop floor, in the warehouse, in the restaurant. We have Randstad Professional, HR, legal, finance, doctors, nurses, sales, marketing. We have Randstad Digital, all the skills our clients need to digitize their business. And we have a dedicated group, Randstad Enterprise, for our large international clients to do talent recruiting and talent management at scale. So Partner for Talent is being a true partner for talent along different specializations in the talent lifecycle, all the way from talent marketing to outplacement and everything in between. Partner for Talent is also partner for talent, because ultimately it is about the talent who's going to our clients and making a success there, and talent is increasingly scarce. So that's why we are all about building deeper and longer relationships with talent and helping them progress in their career. So that's Partner for Talent.
Thank you. I think we moved away from a cookie cutter approach of one thing works well for all the organizations and starting to move into a more specialized one for both talent as well as for clients. I think talent strategy, specialized strategy probably would be very helpful. Thank you for giving a very comprehensive overview of that. Getting back to the talent, I think 2003 has seen a dramatic change in the way the landscape is moving of talent, especially for people who want to get into organization, get into the job. You also recently launched Talent ABC, and could you elaborate on what Talent ABC means?
No, absolutely. So it's ABC plus 1/3. And let me tell you, the A stands for ambition, and this is really interesting, that if you ask people around the globe, are you ambitious? Actually only 50% says yes. In India, by the way, that's 70%, so a little different. That means that 50% has somewhat different priorities. Could be flexible work, could be taking care of family, etc., etc. So they feel comfortable with where they are. And then the B is actually related to that, stands for balance. If you ask people around the globe, what's more important, pay or balance? 50% says balance, 50% says pay. So again, an equal weight. I suspect in India the pay will be somewhat higher, knowing the Indian employees in Randstad at least. And then the C is for connection. And here's good news, because 70% of employees globally says they feel connected to their organization in terms of the purpose, in terms of the leadership, and how the company is run. So that's a good news. However, still 50% of people says, I'm holding back things about myself for my co-workers and for my leadership. So there's still work to be done in terms of making sure that everybody feels 100% comfortable. And I always say that everybody doesn't have to leave anything by the door. And that brings me to the 1/3, because you might say that it's interesting to know what people want, but because people have options, they actually take consequences. So there's the 1/3 that says, I'm willing to quit a job if I cannot get the training, if I cannot fulfill my ambition, if I don't get flexible work, if I don't have balance of work and life. And of course, those 1/3 are not always the same 1/3. And this brings exactly to your point, Ram, the one-size-fits-all era is over. It's almost like you need to have an individual discussion with each and every employee. What makes you tick? What do you see in your career? What do you think is going to make you successful? How can we make it work between employer and employee on an individual basis? So that's the ABC plus 1/3 of talent.
Fantastic, I think. Yeah, I was reading the Work Monitor report, which said about 90% of the people who took the survey said that they're very ambitious about their career, and about 68% of them said that if they don't see progression in their current job or the one which they are looking out for, they will not take that up. So that's the kind of percentages which we are talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think, so speaking about ambition and progression, let me get to you, Gopal. Many congratulations for your recent placement on a new role as a country manager and GF Mining. And I understand that you were placed through Randstad Executive Search program.
Yes, that's right.
And so tell us, Gopal, do you agree when I say that no matter what stage of one's career, they need some career guidance?
Well, I think at every stage of career you need career guidance. Of course, things are more simplified now with lots available on social media, other channels where you can probably pick up a few things. But yes, you definitely need a professional. And I would say more so at a senior position, because I think what happens in a senior position is that you are in a fallacy that you know it all. So B, I think you are so involved in your day-to-day running of the company and trying to make money for your employer that you do actually take a back seat, realizing that these 12 or 13 hours you're giving every day, is it productive enough for you also? So that is where a career guide or a career guidance is required, number one. Number two, I think it's always very important to seek professional guidance at a senior level, because of so much else available in the rest of the globe, which you are unaware of, predominantly because of the daily management which you are normally doing, and you don't get that much time. So I guess probably it's more important at senior levels to have career guidance than probably at any other level.
So everyone else there who's listening to this one, all the myth is broken in terms of when we really feel that at a senior level we are on our own and we can take care of our stuff. So thank you for sharing this frank feedback. But I mean, how did the Randstad Executive Search really help you in this journey?
Well, I think first of all, the timing was perfect. So I don't know how that happened, whether it's done by Randstad organically or was it cosmic? I don't know, but something was there about timing. And to be very honest, I was not looking for a change. And I told the Randstad team when they approached me that, hey, I'm not looking for a change. And but I don't know. They spoke to me. We had a couple of meetings, online meetings, and they probably gave me a feeling that career also is like a life cycle. So it goes up, reaches the plateau, maybe a flat curve sometimes. From there, it can either go down or it can go up. Now that's where you need a career guide. So I think Randstad did very well to actually make me realize a few things. Then of course their choice of the new assignment which they were offering me was bang on, because it was absolutely in my alley, something which I have been doing before and I do have core competence of. So I think all of that was weaved very well, and I think that entire process was smooth. Any doubts I had were clarified ASAP, and they also did negotiate with the client for me, which is good. And though they could have done a little better, but okay.
Always
yeah,
good.
yeah, okay. So yes, overall, I think it was a very good experience, and I'm glad that we could connect. I could connect with Randstad for this new assignment.
Thank you very much for sharing that, Gopal. I think your candid feedback really helped, and I think something about specialized focus is working, handler here. And then I think I know you probably don't want to get into giving away the state secrets of how that works. But do you also see that irrespective of whatever is the age, there's always some guidance which is required, and then seeing some trends out there.
No, absolutely, and I think Gopal said it very well. I think there's was some magic here, but this is not the Randstad magic. This is also Gopal's magic. No, I'm serious, because being curious for a leader is very important. So if you get an opportunity or someone calls you and you engage in the conversation, and that's where things happen. And then being open to coaching, to guidance. I think not everybody is as open as you've been, and clearly the success is coming along with it. So very well done.
Thank you.
So, and you're seeing this trend continuing there in this area of senior people coming and approaching for guidance and all. Is that from a stats perspective also?
Well, there's definitely a need out there, and as I said, the more open people are, the more opportunities will present themselves. So I think for a leader to be open and curious, I think is absolutely critical.
I think the essence of this one, what I can understand is there's a need for us to have a continuous skilling, which, and probably some of the conversations may have triggered that in terms of how this continuous skilling is essential for us, not just to do our work which we're continuing to do, but also for looking at other opportunities outside. And interestingly, another one of our survey which said that 61% of the respondents who were looking at either continuing the current job or looking for the new jobs said that they would want to get into an organization where there is an L&D, strong L&D focus there, or even to remain in the same job. They would really want the company to take care of their upskilling. On this continuous skilling, let me come to you, Sourav. I know you are a professor and dean of Alumni Association at IIM Bangalore, the most prestigious college in the country, and you have been in the space of skilling themselves. What do you see? How do you see this trend that has been observed, especially at a leadership level and at the future of skilling, so to say, at every level?
All right, so let me answer this at two levels. One is whatever I have seen at the IIM level, and the caveat there is this is a very, very thin sliver of India that we are seeing. Just keep in mind that this year 300,000 students applied for the 600 seats at IIM Bangalore. So we just are in a very fortunate situation to be so much selective. and we get students like Deepika, right? So they have double level of filters, which means that they are typically from a extremely good in the undergraduate school, and then they come to IIM Bangalore clearing this highly selective examination. And so when you look at this set of people, they are extremely self-driven. They will find out what is necessary, what the world demands from them, and they will skill themselves, right? Whether it is artificial intelligence, whether it is about analytics, or whether it is about learning how human beings decide, they will do it on their own. I think they are very self-driven. Today what has happened is the Indian economy has opened up and there is enormous opportunity. So for them, the world is the oyster, and you can't stop them. But at the same time, we must keep in mind that most of these people would very quickly hate working for a large organization, and they will start going on their own, right? So that tells something about the overall thing. Now let me come to it in India level, and let us look at some of the data. So today, on an average, there are about 12 million people who are joining the workforce in India. Keep in mind that in India, the labor force participation of women is pegged at 37%. So which means that when you are talking about 12 million people joining at the labor force, we are making an assumption that 63% of the women do not like to work, and which is a very a strange assumption to make. How many jobs are we creating every year? About 5 million. So as you and I speak, every year we are creating a job deficit of 7 million. If you look at another data, you will find that the employability of India's youth or India's workforce hovers around 50%. It has improved from 34% in 2014, but today it is about 51%, which effectively means that 50% of India's labor force are not employable. They have the degrees, but they are found to be misfit for the industry. So when you look at some of these data, it is pretty disturbing. I mean, if India has to meet its target of becoming this big X trillion economy, which we keep on banding around everywhere, then I think we have to very seriously think about our labor force and how we skill them, how do we make them ready, because at a very macro level, there will be tremendous demand for people. But at the individual level, if you look at from 93 onwards, what we are seeing in this country is a reasonably, the demand for job is disconnected to the growth of the economy. So today, if you look at it, this economy, huge economy growing at 6 to 7%, but you look at the job market, you will find that there are plenty of people who are looking for jobs. So I think we have to deal with this paradox. Let me just touch upon one quick issue and then I'll get back to you. So what are those sectors which are going to create jobs? Is manufacturing going to create a lot of jobs? I'm afraid it is not going to create a lot of jobs. Because if you want to be competitive, it has to be highly automated. It has to incorporate a lot of these artificial intelligence and machine learning. So that's not going to be a job creator. Maybe job creators, healthcare. We are having a very elderly population, right? So they have to be taken care of. That is where we can probably very quickly become like Japan, where you have robots to taking care of the elderlies. So we have to think of some of those sectors, quickly mentioning, healthcare, elderlies, maybe sustainable agriculture. And we also have to look for opportunities where our labor force can travel across the world and be employed by other countries. So I think if you work in some of these levels, then we will be able to solve the real employment problem, which is very quickly come to fore as far as India is concerned.
Thanks, Sourav. Very interesting, and then the stats talk a lot about it, right? In terms of 12 million coming in, only 60% can be employed, or less than that actually can be. So when you say 50% of them are unemployable, I mean, is that one of the reasons why there is a gap between unemployment and potential employees versus how many actually ending up with a job?
See, the gap is at two levels. One is we are not creating enough jobs, right? Second thing, we are saying that even among the people whom you have, if I bring them to a company, they are not suitable for working. What does it mean? It means that companies will have to do a backward integration to start working with these people to give them the right kind of skills, which is typically happening. I mean, if you look at, I know in the IT sector, there are some of the IT companies which have now gone and taken over the last year's curriculum of the engineering colleges. They said, guys, whatever you are teaching is not relevant for me, so let me come and teach the students. It's generating employment, but is it good for the country in the long term? I don't think so, right? So some of these stuff are very strange as far as India is concerned.
Very insightful, Sourav. I think to everyone listening out here, skilling, upskilling, reskilling, and continuous skilling are the buzzword mantras, and we need to continuously learn ourselves. And we've been hearing a lot about this AI coming in and changing and revolutionizing a lot of this. So, Sadhna, you see some changes with that coming in and how the skilling space works in and the gap which is there between employability and actually skilling.
Yeah, so on AI, I would say employees are very interested in AI. 50 to 60% of employees says AI, that's interesting, bring it on, I want to learn.
Yeah.
We do see, and that is that also another gap, I would say, it is only 15% of people actually get offered some AI training. So the gap is at many levels, and skilling has a major role to play. I do think there's a big role for the government, there's a big role for business, but they need to lock hands. And let's say for the government to give it to business, I don't think that's a good idea, because you need to act in the interest of the whole country. But for them to lock hands and make sure we close those gaps, I think that's absolutely important.
Thank you. When on the AI topic, where AI probably is definitely a game changer, that's what we hear from everywhere, and that's what is resonating here as well. That brings on to the next topic, is something which AI can definitely help with, where if they're trained correctly and you're using the right data there is I'm referring to unconscious bias which exists in workplace and even in the life in general as well. While many of us acknowledge the unconscious bias, there are a lot of people who shut their door for either act as ignorant or oblivious about this. I just want to come to you, Colonel, in terms of this unconscious bias. And you're an army veteran, you rejoined the workforce after a long time. And so tell us your experience of this unconscious bias, given that you're joined or rejoined at typically everyone calls it an older age. So how did that change happen, and your experience on that?
Okay, so my experience with unconscious bias has been more sort of internal. I thought I had this bias about myself. And the only debate that I've had on this with anybody is probably talking to myself, that am I taking the right decision and at the right stage. So, but having said that, yes, I do agree that you associate a higher age with probably a lack of energy, a lack of a reluctance to probably adapt to newer things, a reluctance to probably accept change. Because you've been in a certain sort of a job profile over a period of time, and with age you become more and more rigid in your views. However, as a military professional, somebody looking to now transition out of uniform into a white collar job, I feel that adaptability in your role is something which comes intrinsically to us. Post about 13 odd years of service in the army, when you graduate from being a middle level leader to little senior roles and into more hand-picked and qualification based roles and merit based roles, every assignment that comes your way is different from the previous one, and you have no option but to excel. We practice leadership on a regular basis. We practice leadership. We don't learn about it. We sort of learn it on the job. And so these skill sets, this ability to take decisions, to land up in a new environment and from there take it on and excel along with a team which could be as diverse as people educated from between being 10th pass to 12th pass to leading a team of very highly selected and qualified professionals in a very, very defined and in a very niche sort of a role. So that is the kind of experience one carries, and if that is what is your level of expertise, and that is the kind of confidence one has. And if I may take the A from what Sanders said about ambition, with all that, I think it's not too difficult to put the unconscious bias behind either in yourself or the organization. It may take a little time for people to really see what you have and what is it that you bring to the table as far as the corporate organization is concerned. But I think this is something which can be overcome and professional competence obviously becomes the overriding factor.
You're seeing it getting better. I mean, let me just reel back about 20-25 years back in Bangalore, when you used to have army professional coming in, they will be typically stereotyped into getting into a chief security officer role in the organization because of this background. And so, are you seeing that changing as you see some of your seniors who got into the corporate world? That changing is a trend that change you can see.
Yes, that is changing because probably that acceptability with more and more veterans out in the corporate now, the understanding of what a military veteran, what are the kind of diverse skill sets that he or she can bring is better known now, and we are now not stereotyped into that typical that he can only handle administrative jobs, or the person is only fit for a leadership role or a HR role, so to say, or a people's role. So to that extent, things have changed quite a lot, and I think it's only going to get better because age is also translated into experience, and now it's a question of how you sort of harness that capability.
Yeah, I think it's a very important point to see how organizations imbibe and make you feel inclusive depending on whichever background you're coming from. So I think your experience on this ageism is that different from what you've seen in different parts of the world and here in India?
Well, it's changing. The part of the world where I'm from 20-25 years ago, if people would be over 50 or 55, if they would lose their job, getting a new job would be very, very difficult. Over the past decades, the age group where the labor participation has increased the most in Europe and North America is actually the age group from 55 to 70. So I'm optimistic, and part of it is of course by necessity because talent is scarce. Necessity also because the 401k or the pension may not be fully what you were looking for, so people still need to make some money to make a living, of course. But by and large, I would say it's positive because if people contribute longer, because work is of course to make a living, but work is also to be part of the family, part of a community. The social aspects of work should not be underestimated. So I think people working longer, I think in general is a good thing.
Yeah, I think these biases have various different reasons, right? I mean, and very important for organizations to start making people a sense of belonging to that particular organization, culture, and so on and so forth. Well, it brings to the next point of the differences which are there. While certain organizations have their policies defined, the benefits which are defined for marginalized members, including LGBTQ plus kind of a thing, but not many people really talk about this upfront. I mean, they shy away from talking about this upfront, and some of these which are existing are still, to my mind, a tokenism, a photo op, or armchair kind of a activism which are existing at this point of time. So, Gitika, you as a co-founder of Atypical Advantage have been working in this space, especially with the handicapped and disabled people being placed in organizations. And previously, it was also always used to be that the moment you see a person with a specific type of disability, we actually in mind figure out what kind of a job that person fits in. How are you seeing that change now that you've been working with them for over a period of time, and is that constant or changing, and how is it changing?
Sure. Just one thing that I would like to highlight for this audience is it's called people with disabilities. We don't generally use the term handicap or disabled. It is always you put the person before disability because you need to respect them as humans. So in terms of the change, definitely yes, when we started Atypical Advantage way back in 2021, which was right during the time of COVID, companies were still not very acceptable of bringing in people with disabilities. There was a lot of hesitation in bringing them for in-person roles, and they were still comfortable for hiring them for white-collar jobs in customer service support centers, which could also be done through their, through the comfort of their home. Now, having said that, the white-collar jobs and the blue-collar jobs are treated a little differently. So, what we have seen is some companies, and I am okay to take names because we do publish some of these, as reports through our own platform, companies like Amazon, etc., have become very comfortable bringing in people with disability to their premises because they have started providing the infrastructure, the support that's needed. They have started sensitizing their own employees, their leaders, so that it makes a more conducive environment for people with disabilities to come and participate in the labor force, right? So that is where we are seeing that shift. I'll also quote something that is now happening in our country in the blue collar space. Not a lot of people are hired in the blue collar workforce, especially people with disabilities. And even there are criteria that you have to meet, like you have ITI standards, you have to qualify and then get into such kind of roles. Again, the qualification is a little tougher for that group, that audience. But still, there aren't many, institutes that are providing such kind of skilling. There are companies, again, okay, and happy to take their names, companies like HUL, which have come forward and said that why don't you go ahead and train people with disabilities with the certifications we need, and we'll be more than happy to hire them. I'll also share an example of Nestle. Nestle reached out to Atypical Advantage last year and they said, we have never hired people with disabilities in our factory units. We want to try out a pilot program. Can you help? So we went to the premises, we did an audit and understood that certain disabilities may not be the right fit. So if you bring in a person with locomotor disability who's moving around with crutches or wheelchair, it could become a little hard because of the big machinery that's there in the units. At the same time, people with visual impairment, it could become a little tougher. So we said, why don't we start with people with hearing impairment? So we, in that particular factory in Sanand, they were manufacturing Maggi packets, and we said, okay, let's pick up a specific role. Let's see what people with hearing impairment can do over here. And they had come up with a plan to hire 5 people. Liked the group that was interviewing and hired 12 people. And we did a pilot program for 6 months with them. We brought in a program manager from our side who was doing the sign language interpretation between this group and the other employees. We also ended up putting signages, teaching sign language to the employees in the factory. And the first month was extremely tough. We had to also give the the new employees a special training in sign language because that had never been done. The company was very, very accommodative. They said, we are okay, you take whatever it takes to just educate them and bring them at the same skill, at the same level as the other employees. Productivity, is a very big factor for manufacturing plants. The first month was very tough for us, but come the second month, this group of 12 people outperformed everybody else in the factory. So that is what gave Nestle a lot of confidence. We ended the program. After 6 months, they ended up hiring 13 more people. So right now the number stands at 25 and they have already agreed to hire 100 people this year. This has given confidence to other companies in the same area. Godrej is already doing the same hiring with us, and then also various other companies, Marico, etc., have come forward to even hire people with disabilities in the blue collar space. So the example itself speaks to volume of how and why a diverse workforce is needed. They've realized that bringing in even people with disabilities could actually help you with your productivity parameters that you keep gauging in the manufacturing plants, and they are now okay and willing to bring in such people. So I think skilling, companies being a little more accommodative, providing the right accessible features in their plans is the basic things that companies can do. It does not take a lot of money, but yeah, I am seeing that doors open up now for people with disabilities as well.
Thank you. Very refreshing to hear the changes which are happening, and I know the small numbers probably eventually give examples for us to get, because I think there's work happening there. I think we can collectively do a lot more in this particular space. How do you reach to the scale? I mean, is there anything which can be done? And probably this is for you as well, Sandra, that is there anything which we can collectively do to make that 12 numbers, 25 to actually 250 to 2,500 to 25,000 kind of thing, because the percentage of people with disabilities getting into the workforce is very, very less. And we all need to actually work towards that to make that shift happen.
Sure.
And anything which we can do collectively, and you started to see working with your clients as well.
Now, I would say have more people and organizations like Ithaca. No, and I'm serious. In our Randstad organization, we have in various countries, we have dedicated teams doing similar work as Gitika and her team are doing, because this is one person at a time and one organization at a time that needs to be convinced. So this is, there is no magic wand here. Focus, 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 and keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. I think that's that's the only way forward, and that requires commitment. That requires commitment from our organizations, but it also requires commitment from the employers at large, I would say.
And but the conversations are happening about equitable workplace to the large client network you're seeing, at least you see the shift there?
Oh no, I mean, you heard some of the names, Unilever, Nestle, all of the large companies are pretty much there.
Okay.
I think there's no doubt. Some a little bit more, some a little bit less, some more here, more on the gender agenda, some more on the disability, some more on LGBTQ. It varies a little bit, but I think by and large our global clients are with the program, and then from there it trickles down to the local companies and institutions.
And Geetika, you're seeing that happening with the smaller organizations as well, not the big names that you're taking?
I would not say that. I think we've seen a good shift in the larger organizations for sure. We work with almost 300 plus companies in India as of today across various verticals that we have. With smaller organizations, what we've realized is, some kind of a foot in the door always helps. So we have a very group section of artists. We have people who are performers, who are singers, musicians, dancers. So any kind of event, town halls that happen, a lot of these small companies do invite these performers to come and perform, which kind of creates a very different experience for the audience, and it also sensitizes them at a different level. And so companies start opening up to the idea that you can also bring in people with disabilities to even work alongside your other employees, right? So with smaller organizations, we have generally seen these kind of sensitization and awareness things really helps, but they still have to go through that journey where they are comfortable even bringing in people with disabilities to participate in the labor force.
Thank you. I'm very, very happy to hear the shift which is happening, and I think it's going in the right direction. Thank you very much. Sure. Let me get into the next topic of which we wanted to touch base on, and Chandan, I'll come to you on that, which is basically a balance beyond the compensation which is being paid. And then the Randstad work monitor report which came in again said about 63% of the respondents said they wouldn't get into a job or continue in a job if it does not give good work-life balance. So Chandana, you are working on a shop floor in a key client of Randstad, and what does this mean for you in terms of work-life balance, the opportunities which organizations have been providing, the flexibility which they gives you, and for your growth as well? ఇక్కడ నువ్వు ఎక్కడ పని చేస్తున్నావో అక్కడ నీకు ఈ ఓకే
బట్ ఐఎమ్ కంఫర్టబుల్ ఇన్ తెలుగు
ఐ విల్ ట్రాన్స్లేట్ దట్ యూ కెన్
ఐ కంప్లీటెడ్ మై డిగ్రీ సార్. నేను డిగ్రీ కంప్లీట్ చేశాను, అండ్ అనిల్ సార్ Randstad హెచ్ఆర్ హీస్ రిఫర్డ్ మీ టు వర్కింగ్ ఇన్ Randstad ఇన్ Viston ఇండస్ట్రియల్ ఏరియా, Anasapur ఇండస్ట్రియల్ ఏరియా. Then I joined February 7, still 3 months completed. I am very comfortable with this company and this work and salary also. మంచి
చెప్పండి, తెలుగులో చెప్పిన మదర్ టంగ్ చెప్తాను.
I comfortable with Telugu sir because my mother tongue is Telugu. మంచి ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఉన్నాయి అక్కడ, క్యాంటీన్, ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ఫెసిలిటీస్, వెల్ఫేర్ ఆఫీసర్స్, టైమ్ ఆఫీసర్స్, విత్ ఇన్ క్యాబ్స్ ట్రాన్స్పోర్ట్ ఫెసిలిటీస్, ఫుడ్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ are very nice in Viston company. And still I am working palm line in working shop floor. They are all supporting too much me. I am working still 3 months. Yes, after.
అవును, మరి సాయంత్రం ఏం చేస్తావు? ఇంటికి వెళ్ళి ఇంట్లో ఎవరున్నారు ఇక్కడ నీకు బ్యాలెన్స్ అయితే?
I mean వేమ్గల్ ఉంటాను సార్. 30 minutes to go from Viston company to my location.
So if there is one thing which you want in addition to what is happening, what would that be? ఇంకా నీకు వచ్చి ఇప్పుడు ఏవే ఆపర్చునిటీస్ ఉన్నాయో, ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఇస్తున్నారో, అది కాకుండా ఇంకొకటి కావాలంటే ఏది ఉంటుంది? అది ఏది మిస్సింగ్ నువ్వు పనిచేస్తున్నప్పుడు? ఏం లేదా? So you're getting, so she's basically saying that, she's getting a good work-life balance, they're being taken care of.
My life, here, I'm working here, this company. I'm very comfortable, sir, and my life is balancing with this salary, and now increasing my salary to 2.5. Now, yesterday informed 2.5 salary is increasing, and
Congratulations.
Well done. Yeah, great. That's great.
So 3 months and you already are in the zone. So very good to, nice to hear that. Congratulations, Chandana. And more of such examples will actually trigger off ripple effect. I know you're coming from a small village.
Yes, sir, I'm coming from rural area, sir. I'm from Andhra. It's Madanpalli. I'm coming from. My village is Madanpalli. డిగ్రీ తర్వాత నేను ఇక్కడికి రావాలనుకున్నాను సార్. మా సార్ రిఫర్ చేశారు మమ్మల్ని. నేను రూరల్ ఏరియా నుంచి వచ్చాను ఇక్కడికి. నాకు ఇక్కడ లైఫ్ ఎలా సెటిల్ చేసుకోవాలి ఏమీ తెలియదు. స్టార్టింగ్లో ఇక్కడ జాయిన్ అయ్యాను. నాకు అందరూ చాలా హెల్ప్ చేశారు. వాళ్ళు హెచ్ఆర్స్ అందరూ హెల్ప్ చేశారు. ఇక్కడ వర్క్ చేయండి, కొంచెం మంచిగా ఉంటుంది లైఫ్, ఇంకా సెటిల్ అవ్వచ్చు, గ్రోత్ ఉంటుంది ఫ్యూచర్ అంతా అనేసి. ఇక్కడ 3 months జాయిన్, ఇంకా స్టిల్ నేను 5 years ఇక్కడే వర్క్ చేస్తాను కంటిన్యూస్గా, బికాజ్ ఐ లవ్ దిస్ కంపెనీ అండ్ దే ఆర్ ఎంకరేజింగ్ మీ టు డూ వర్క్ హియర్ ఓన్లీ.
So ever since she graduated, she wanted to come here, work on her own and work in this kind of circumstances, learn a lot, and she apparently is seeming to learn, and we hear that you're growing as well, so congratulations. And she wants to continue here for a long time and make a career for herself, and you're seeing that organization has been very supportive to whatever you're doing. Thank you very much. I think I wanted your thoughts on this, finding a balance. I think there's a lot of buzz which is happening in that area also, work-life balance. I mean, I personally don't like the word work-life balance. There is nothing called, if it is work, there's no life kind of a thing. But I mean, but that's something which is being discussed. So what is your take on balance?
Well, clearly it depends very much on the environment that you're in. We always think work-life balance for office people and work from home and all of that. But if you're on the shop floor, you have to go at certain times. One of the things that we found out helps in a major way is if workers can select their own shifts. If they can decide, I'm going to work this week the early shift and next week the later shift. So if they have some self-direction in terms of selecting their own shifts, and in some countries we are implementing technology to do just that. So our clients, they put in the shifts, and the workers can actually on the app select their own shifts, and that makes a massive difference, because you may have something with your family tomorrow, you work the early shift or vice versa, and that is something we're working on very, very hard in the more operational environment.
Thank you. I think it was an insightful discussion which you had. We were talking about entry level to some senior level, where there is a help which is required in settling down in their career, and we are seeing organizations actually being really more progressive about bringing a lot of inclusivity in the environment. Skilling, upskilling, reskilling is a continuous process, and I think we are getting into a nice state of affairs, and I really want to see, Sourav, how that gap can be bridged in terms of employability at this one point of time, and as well as bringing in more jobs into play. So that's probably a chicken and egg story in some ways, but I think things are moving in that direction. So we are set for a pretty nice pace to start seeing, and with new strategy which is there from Randstad and some of these organizations, and you work with a lot of organizations here in India and globally as well. I think we will bring that perceptible change, and we all hear that how Indian workforce is at a right age to unleash themselves across the globe. So any closing thoughts and comments?
No, India is off to a great era, I would say. I mean, over the last decades, and I've been coming to India since 1986, so it's been a massive change and progression, and I think there's absolutely more to come. But I also learned that we need more jobs, because we cannot have too many people without a job, because a job is so important for, well, to make a living, to be meaningful in your environment, to have your social contacts. I mean, the job, I would say, after family and health, the job is always number 3, so it's really important, and as Randstad will continue to be their partner for talent.
Thank you, Sandra, for. And Revati, you want to have any closing comments?
I want to share one thing.
Yeah.
In Wistron company, majority people are females. It's very nice. చాలా మంది రూరల్ ఏరియా నుంచి వచ్చారు సార్. చాలా మంది గర్ల్స్ లేడీస్ ఉన్నారు. మెజారిటీ పీపుల్ లేడీసే ఉన్నారు అక్కడ. చాలా మంది వాళ్ళ లైఫ్ లీడ్ చేస్తున్నారు విత్ దే సాలరీ 18K. చాలా మంది అండ్ క్యాబ్ మిస్సింగ్, ఒకసారి క్యాబ్ మిస్ అవుతుంది అయినప్పుడు వితిన్ సెకండ్స్ దే విల్ అరేంజ్ క్యాబ్ ఆల్సో సార్. డ్యూటీ మిస్ అయినప్పుడు క్యాబ్ అండ్ దే విల్ ప్రొవైడ్ hospitals.
Okay, very good. Wow.
Yes, sir.
So
Recently I suffered chicken pox, sir. I get 10 days leave. They will encourage me, no problem, you will see here, how home only, no problem, you take care like that.
And you're good again, I hope.
10 days I take leave, sir.
Okay, great.
There's nothing better than a closing comments like that, Chandana, where you're saying that you have a lot of women who are working around you, that
A
gives
lot of women are
added confidence to you about working there.
Yeah.
You're taken care of, and then I think there is some emergency help which is available 24/7, which is a great thing to hear.
24/7 they will arrange the cab.
Very good. Wow.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this absolutely insightful panel discussion. I think this panel is truly representative of the diverse talent that India has to offer, and the vast potential that we have to place all of these different skill sets by collaborating and really coming together, whether it is organizations like Ram's Foundation for Excellence or Atypical Advantage that Gitika represents, as well as deep collaborations with academia like Sourav is representing. And of course, Nilanjit, thank you so much for being here. I know you actually flew down to Bangalore to be part of the panel, and Sourav is actually flying out today. So, but thank you so much. Gopal, thank you for being here as well.
Pleasure.
And Chandana, thank you so much for being so candid. I think people usually get conscious of being recorded, but thank you so much for being candid. I can tell you that you've probably inspired so many girls today and so many families who even today in India don't send their daughters out, especially to another state, to work, and that in a manufacturing outfit, which is traditionally seen as a male role. So thank you so much for being here. We do have a token of appreciation for you. And I'd like to invite members of our esteemed India Management Council who are here today to give a small token of appreciation to each of our panel members. May I invite Vishi, Mr. Vishwanath PS, MD and CEO of Randstad in India, to please Anjali Raghuvanshi, our Chief People Officer and Senior Director of Business Innovation, Randstad India.
Oh, goodie bag.
Yeah.
Could I request Rohit Kishore, Global Delivery and Talent Officer, Randstad Digital. Ramana Vadavalli, President, Global Capability Center. And Dr. Sachin Biraj,
Thank you so much.
General Counsel for Randstad India. Thank you so much, and thank you to all of our other leaders and my colleagues from HR and marketing for being here. Thank you especially to Ankita Banerjee, our APAC lead for EDIB, for making the suggestions and enabling this panel discussion. Thank you so much, Ankita.
No, I was just checking that everyone got one.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
And Sander, last but not the least, if you could, we have Nagesh Belur. I'm so sorry, Nagesh. I was wondering if I was missing somebody, and this is what happens when I'm not carrying the script.
So much.
But if I could now request Nagesh, if you could come along with the other IMC members for a quick photo op with our panel and Sander.